My name is Mike Cassidy, and I'm one of the filmmaker hosts for the Garden State Film Festival. It is our 24th year this year, and we will be celebrating from March 26th to the 29th in Asbury Park in Cranford, New Jersey, across 9 different venues. This year, we have over 200 films from various different countries, and today I get the pleasure of speaking with the folks behind Silent Harmony, Deborah Markowitz, the director and writer, and Linda Collins, the producer, actress, and composer. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for having us. This is really cool.
Of course. Thank you for joining. If you'd like, we can just get right into it. Would you like to give the audience a brief summary of what the film is about and what they can expect to see?
Linda, you want to take it or? Okay. Well, basically,
you can take that one.
Okay, right. I mean, I wrote it, so I guess. Well, Silent Harmony is basically the story of a famous musician played by Linda, but the musician is in a car accident, which basically she stops talking because she's traumatized. Her arm is broken. She's lost her driver, her longtime driver, and she basically withdraws from the world. And everybody's trying to bring her out of her shell. And while she's hiding out in her summer house, they hire a handyman who basically starts working around the house. And they keep telling him, don't talk to her, leave her alone. She's keeping to herself. And it's basically where the story takes off from there.
Okay. Linda, would you like to add anything?
Well, I mean, the writer got it correct. I mean, that's exactly what happens. And I did absolutely love telling the story on film. It was a very creative way, I think. And yeah, it's fun seeing, but interesting seeing what happens in this.
Yeah, and
it's 15 minutes.
It's also told from Linda's music. And most of it, the reason it's called Silent Harmony is there's almost no talking in the film, except for a couple of characters that carry the story along in the beginning. But it's through a chess game and through Linda's music, and then just the 2 characters passing each other during the film. So it was a really interesting project to do. And Linda and her co-star, Travis Grant, they really had to carry this just with emotion. And it was really interesting to do and to watch after. You know, it's like, all right, okay, this is good. But it was, it's almost experiential in a way, experimental, I should say, because I hadn't done anything like this before. I know Linda hadn't. Travis certainly hadn't. And we brought in a couple of actor friends, Michael Fideli and Julia Weiner, who are the 2 characters. One is Celine's physical therapist. The other one is Celine's longtime assistant. And basically they kick it off, and then the other actors just sail through it.
I was going to ask if you wanted to give a shout out to the other cast and crew members and share how that all came together. I think you just answered right there, though, too. Linda, you are the composer of the film. How did you come to I'm trying to word it correctly. What was that like?
How did that happen? Yeah, what was that?
Yes, there you go. Yeah, we'll go. Yeah.
Well, I'm a pianist, so when I write for piano, I just sit down and start playing, and then the music just comes out however it's supposed to come out, and I might change something here and there, but that's how I write my piano music, is just by playing it. I find it kind of a funny little story when Deb was talking to me about the story before, when we were first in the very, very early stages, before we knew who was going to be what. I had a lot of time to think about the story, which really, affected me a lot because of actually something I had gone through a little earlier in the year. And really, the story was really down to the piano. Oh, I'd say before that was, I kept sending Deb these musical pieces, piano pieces like Chopin, Rachmaninoff. Here's some Beethoven. What, you don't like that either? And she was saying, oh, that's okay. That's okay. And I remembered that she had said, or, why don't you write something? And then I went, she probably wants me to write something. So that's when I sat down and started writing something. And then I just worked on it a few days and came up with what ended up being, I don't want to give too much away, but piano in the film, but also my composer from Nashville, Terry Sweet, took the melody and chords, so took my music and actually arranged it for voice and small orchestra. And so that's a part of the film as well. But anyway, when I sent it to Deb, I wasn't there on your end when it was sent, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I've got this done. And it's, this is how Deb's story makes me feel is that music. And I think it fits the film.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, when she kept giving me, this is nice. This is nice music. But we had worked on a film before called The Prof, and Linda played a song that she'd written for I think it was for my grandmother, was the name of the song. And it was just so beautiful, which is what made me think of having her be a musician for this. And when I write, if I know who I'm writing for or who I'd like to write for, I try and incorporate some things from their personality into the movie. So Travis, who's a star, he was actually going to have hip surgery, I think 2 days later. And he had just had one surgery a year before that. And he actually was a jujitsu champion. And so I used that in the story. And we made up these faux articles about what had happened to him. And since they're not talking, he hands her this and then she sees what his story is. And so it was kind of cool to do that because they both had some experience, with the kind of things that were going on. And I think that's what made it really so heartfelt, that you can see them not hear a word, but know exactly what they're feeling.
Yeah, it was really an experience doing that, because I've never done anything, remotely like that. Because as an actor, you're always, you're involved in all the emotions and feelings and everything, but you're also, you're telling the story by words a lot as well. And so then we had this silent film, and it was just like, oh my goodness. But the editor, Rob Riley, for a lot of the silent parts, added some music that I did not write. It was like Bach and things like that. But I don't want to give the whole thing away. But anyway, it works incredible underneath the story, and it just helps tell the story. So it's just a different way to tell a story. I'm so thrilled that I got to be, a part of this gorgeous film that Deborah wrote, because I love her writing. I loved her writing from the first time I saw a film, which was in 2018 in August. And I didn't know Deborah at the time at all, but I remember coming up to her and saying, oh my God, oh my God, I just love your film. And I was very new. And so this is just, typical Deborah, beautiful film type thing. So I'm so glad to be a part of it.
It's very high praise. You guys mentioned that you have other projects that you've done before. If you wanted to give a shout out to those, and where maybe our viewers can check those out as well and get an idea for the other stuff you've done in your career. And what were some projects that you took from your past, and how did you apply it to what you just did with this film, if there are any in particular?
Well, as far as the film I worked on with Linda, I know the film that you saw originally, I believe, was The Waiting Room, I think, which was one of my favorite films I did. Yeah, I love that movie. So we met at this little tiny film festival somewhere, and when I forgot how we got involved with The Prof. Linda, how did we get? Okay, I remember. Linda had asked me to direct something that a friend had written before he passed away. And it just wasn't really, it's just something, the script was never really finished and it wasn't going to really work. So I started thinking about this person and Linda, and I ended up writing this script called The Prof. And wrote it at like 3 a.m, and I sent it to her, and I didn't know whether she wanted to do it or not do it, but this was kind of a gift to her in commemoration of this person, John Gallagher. We can use John's name. And he had passed away a year or two before that, I think. And he had directed like The Deli. He directed Blue Moon. He directed a lot of really big indie films back in the day. And so we kind of took his story, but we really romanticized it. Because John had a lot of health issues, and he had a lot of, in this industry, everybody wants something from you, especially if you're successful. So we kind of made the story if things had been different for him, if he had been healthy, if, all these wonderful things had happened. And it's sort of the conscience of the film, part of it, actually, your character was really the conscience of it. But, he starts taking all these really bad films just because he's got to make a living. Nobody's banging on his door anymore. And that was kind of true. And so, the character comes to him, Linda's character comes to him and basically said, I'm not going to say reads him the riot act, but she's basically, why would you do this? Why doesn't it suck your soul out? And he's really got to rethink what he's doing. And so there was and Linda's music, I think the only way that I even knew Linda was a musician was the fact that one of the houses we were renting had a piano. She sat down at it and just started playing. And I went, oh, we have to. I said, is this your song? And she said, yeah. I said, we're using this. And we just built the whole scene around that as the bridge, which was amazing. Yeah. So that really made it magic, because nobody knew that was going to happen. And it's a big centerpiece of the prof. And so this kind of, that music led to this, because I always kept that in my mind, what a beautiful musician you are. So that's not really anywhere. One day I think we'll get it up on YouTube, but I think it finished its festival run a year or two ago. But it did well, won a lot of awards. It was Lucas Hassel was your co-star in that, Yolande Gooding. And it was a fun film to do. It was an exhausting film to do, but it was fun.
Yeah, a week of shooting, almost a full week of shooting for that, for a 20-minute film. So It was a lot.
Oh yeah, I think not. It was actually like 4 days.
Yeah,
it's all in 4 days.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm very sorry for your loss. I'm sure that wherever he may be, he was very happy to see the project that you made in his honor. And I appreciate you sharing that with us, and I hope that the folks watching this get a chance to see that as well. Linda, is that kind of like what you like to do? Like if you go to a house or something, you see a piano, you're just like, I'm going to find a way to get on there.
I really, honestly, I did not have that piece. And I mean, I didn't have that in my mind. And I'm trying to think when Deb said that, I was trying to remember why I actually sat down and started playing that piano. And I think that one of the people who might have been doing my makeup or something, we were talking about piano, and then there was a piano and they were on a break. So I just sat down and started playing it. And I think a couple of years before that, I might have said to Deb, I play piano. But usually when an actor says they play piano, usually a lot of times it's an actor says they play piano. They don't really play piano necessarily. Sometimes they do, but sometimes they don't so much. But I spent many years as a professional pianist and a professional French horn player before I started doing acting. So I actually am a piano player. So, I think that when I actually played something and, Deb happened to, to like it a lot. It was just like, oh gosh, she plays the piano, and so it was a kind of a whole different thing that connected us. I think that's how I feel. Is that how you feel, Deb?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, art connects you anyway, and that's just another layer I didn't actually know about. I mean, I'm just so in awe of actors, great actors, and music. I can't do anything, but bang a couple of spoons together, but that's basically about it. But it just set the tone for the whole movie because it was just so beautiful. and you feel it. Like the score to a movie means so much. I think they say the difference between a comedy and horror is the score, and it's really true. You put foreboding music, back a comedy, and it's like, okay, what's going to happen? So when you have a beautiful song like that, it really carries it through. And as she was saying, what Rob Riley did was he found these other scores to basically be the score of most of the movie until Celine starts playing the piano, and then that starts getting in between everything, and then it becomes her movie at that point. But yeah, so it's just all music. It's a good old fashioned silent film, except it's not old. So and it's all bright and light and very airy, and it's basically a very ethereal film. Which is what we wanted. And we didn't know how it would be accepted, but so far it's only had a couple of runs and it's doing really well. It's already won a couple of awards and it's only played twice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So that was really cool to hear, because we sort of feel it's the kind of film people are either going to love or hate, or not hate, but love or not love. But so far people are liking it.
Yeah, but I remember from when it first came out, I said, well, I mean, I love it, but I guess we'll see who else loves it. And fingers crossed, so far so good.
Where we just screened, we were in Texas, and the festival we screened at, when we walked out, somebody walked right over Linda and was like, "Oh my God, wow," said, "My God, that was amazing." And when this happened, and I could so see you guys connect, and he was so into it. So it was really great to hear that.
Yeah.
I feel confident that'll be how it'll be received at this festival as well. And I'll make sure that I find a piano at one of our locations for you to come up with another film. We are unfortunately coming to the end of our time together. I've had a great time speaking with you both. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. My last question is, will you be able to attend the festival in person with us this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. And I'm definitely going to find that piano for you. We'll talk later.
RDP is coming also. John Marine is coming also. So at least the three of us will be there. There may be more. But I know we're tied in.
Awesome. A piano or a French horn, right? That's what your other instrument that you know how to play?
Piano.
Okay, gotcha. Piano. Yeah. We'll stick with piano.
In the rearview mirror, but piano.
Gotcha. Yeah. But thank you again so much for speaking with me. I had a great time. Once again, for the folks watching, that is Silent Harmony. It is going to be shown Saturday, March 28th, block TA11 from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you so much, Deborah, Linda. I had a great time. I can't wait to meet you folks in person at the festival, and I'm excited for everybody to get to view this film.
Thank you so much.
You got it, of course. Have a great night.